What is happening, everybody? RedHeadWonder91, and today we are reviewing Lies of P. Now, I know this game has been out for over a year now, but we just ran through it on the live stream, getting prepared for the DLC that is to be released. Looks like to be in the second quarter of 2025. So I figured now would be a good time to play through the game and kind of give my 2 cents. I know there's not a whole lot new we can say about the game, but I just thought it'd be interesting to give my take and my opinion on how everything played out, and then we can compare this back to the DLC when that is released. And diving right in with the combat system here. Combat was really clean, really well put together, very intuitive. It borrows a lot from the Dark Souls series. So you do have your blocks, your perfect blocks, or your parries, light and heavy attacks, and then throwables, consumables, all that. There's really nothing, they didn't do anything new here. They didn't push the envelope on anything, but also it makes me just like it that much more. It's one of those games that just had it dialed in. It didn't need to be more than it is, so I do really appreciate that. The prosthetic arm was really the only difference that separated them from a lot of the Souls-like games. With the prosthetic arm, you have a bunch of attachments. You gotta level all those up. You got fire, electric, but I'm going to be perfectly honest with you, through this pretty much entire playthrough, the only prosthetic upgrade I used was the Aegis shield, and I just leveled that up as fast as I could and ran through the game with that. I found the other ones not to be as beneficial as being able to kind of create some distance using the shield that has an explosive tip. Once you unlock that, that creates enough distance to pop a heal off or whatever you need to do. Other than that, the weapon customization, that's pretty cool. Again, it's not something I really dove into, but I'm sure there's some crazy builds you can make with all the different options you have. The only other thing, as far as combat goes, was that I did notice there was a huge skill curve towards the last 30% of the game. We did about 60% of the game with very minimal deaths, and then we hit kind of the final, I'd say 3 chapters, and it just got brutally difficult. Enemies were doing a lot more damage. There's a lot less windows to get damage in or heal when needed. So I wish they kind of had a little bit of skill tests as you got closer to that game. It would have been nice to see a little bit more of a progression instead of just basically an on-off switch. So yeah, that's as far as combat goes. Like I said, it's probably one of my favorite aspects of the game. Moving on to gameplay mechanics. Now again, the game kept it very simple. Once again, they did not push any envelopes when it comes to inventory management, stuff like that. It's all your pretty basic action RPG layout. I did like the fact that they did not put any attributes to the different types of armors. So you can change how you look, play in any style of clothes that you want to, and it doesn't affect your stats. It doesn't give you any sort of advantages or disadvantages. So I do really like that. The way they kind of split that up was, instead of giving attributes to the armor, you can pick and choose what kind of underlayers you have that gives you your buffs and debuffs. So that was really cool. I would like to see more games do that. We all like our drip, and sometimes you have to sacrifice weight or stuff like that in order to wear an armor set that you like. So with this game, yeah, you can pretty much put on whatever you want and, like I said, look however you want while playing the game. Also, it does really good at keeping continuity. When it does a cutscene, it has all the different armor types already in there, so whatever you're wearing, the cutscene just shows you how you walked into the arena. So that was pretty rad as well. So the game does have your basic layout with your different belts, your healing. It does have the weapon damage, so if you're not careful with that, your weapon will break and start causing loss on all of that. But the nice thing is, when you perfect pair your enemy, they also have a weapon health, and you can break their weapons, and I would do that quite a bit. Spend the first half of the fight kind of eating shots to get their weapon to break, and then when they're doing 20% damage, then I jump in and start really smashing on them. So it worked until it didn't. Damn, I do like that, but they keep it kind of fair. You have, like I said, consumables. Another thing I really didn't use that I wish I could jump into more was you can use elemental grindstones. So you can take a let's use electricity for example. You can take a non-electric and you can grindstone with it and turn it into electric weapons short term. Moving on to storyline and gameplay. Storyline was pretty damn cool. So it does follow the story of Pinocchio. That's not a big shocker there. However, I did find it really cool that if you do know the OG story of Pinocchio and how that story was, they stay pretty true to it in the game. It might not appear like that on the surface, but if you are familiar with the original Pinocchio story, they do borrow a lot of characters from there, and they give them the same personality traits. So I thought that was really cool. They don't copy it word for word. They give this game its own personality, which I do like, but they do, like I said, stay pretty true to its to the heritage of the Pinocchio story. The storyline in the game, I really liked it. It's pretty engaging, and it's a little I'd say it's a little bit hard to follow at first. But towards the end, all the puzzle pieces kind of start falling into place, and you really realize what's been going on the whole time. And I liked it. That was really cool the way they storied everything out. The game does have, as far as I know, 3 alternate endings. So there's a bad ending, a good ending, and kind of a better ending, I guess. Really just 2 goods, 1 bad. So it's kind of, you decide how you want to end the game. If you do choose the bad ending, though, you do miss one of the hardest bosses and final boss of the game. So just keep that in mind. How the game was put together is also amazing. Graphically, I think that they did an excellent job in world building, boss fights, all that. We did play the game through on Xbox Series X. I never had an issue with frame drops, anything like that. The game stayed really consistent. We were running it at 1080 at 60 FPS, and it worked flawlessly. I really have no negative things to say as far as all that goes. It's just really well put together. The overarching story was really well told. Replayability, again, you have 3 different endings, so you can play up to 3 different run-throughs and have a different experience every time. Also, they did add a mechanic, so during your first playthrough, the puppets are actively trying to talk to you, which has quite a bit of exposition in it. But on your first playthrough, you can't understand what they're saying. And then deeper into the game, you get a device where if you do a New Game Plus, you can upgrade the device and you can actually hear the puppets kind of warning you before you start the boss fight. So I think that was an excellent choice. Really cool that they were able to keep telling the story even through a New Game Plus situation. So my final thoughts and overall feeling towards this game is I absolutely love it. This gets a 10 out of 10 from me. It's probably one of my favorite games, honestly. When it first came out, the game was complete. They didn't have to mess around with a whole lot of stuff. It wasn't all buggy. There's no pay-to-play aspects to the game, which is great. Everything that's in the game is in the game. There's no stupid bonus items or microtransactions, anything like that. Like I said, I love the combat system. I love how smooth everything was, how straightforward it was. The difficulty can be a little bit of a turnoff if you're not into this style of games. But, I mean, realistically, I think if you like action RPGs and Souls-like, there's no way you haven't already played this game. I will definitely be getting the DLC when that comes out. I'm actually really looking forward to that release. Yeah, it's just overall killer game. I have really nothing bad to say about it. It stays on my console constantly. We're not going to delete this one for space. We will be doing a New Game Plus run through when the DLC has an actual release date, so we will be doing another quick run through as well. So yeah, again, nothing new. I think we all pretty much agree that Lies of P was a really well put together, great game to play if you do enjoy Souls-like. So that is my review of Lies of P. We are jumping into Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, so please hop over to the live streams. Feel free to watch that. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I'm still new at doing all these review things, so any constructive criticism would be greatly appreciated. And thanks guys for listening to me, and we'll see you on the next one.